Namaskar. I welcome everyone to this session of Aalok Theory and Contemporary Music Performance. The first question to Padma Vibhushan Dr. Prabha Atre ji is: what are your thoughts on the basic elements of music?
Before we begin with our series, I would like to tell you something that during my long journey of music, I faced lot of questions and could not find answers neither in the treatises nor in tradition. I am a student of science and law, which is why I test things before accepting them, whether it is theory or tradition. A lot of questions kept coming my way, and I kept looking for the solutions. Today, my attempt would be to share what I have been contemplating, what I have been thinking. You may agree, and even if you don't, fine. I'll try to make my thoughts more clear and we'll move forward. One thing is that we all believe we listen to music. What do we mean by listening? Do we listen with understanding? We listen to a lot of music nowadays, but to listen with understanding is different. And even for that, one needs some background. Do you agree with that? It requires a lot of practice to become an artist. He keeps practicing his entire life. But even for listening with understanding, one requires practice. I feel so. Until the audience does not reach the level of the artist, the communication between the artist and the listener, which is essential, is difficult. Our effort is to achieve this for that laymen who haven't learned music, our students who are beginners, who accept whatever is taught with eyes closed. You should always have questions in your mind. Why this? Why not that? By doing this, we keep our theory in its pure form. Otherwise, there are a lot of things today for which we have no satisfactory answers. You know what it means to listen to music. Since time immemorial, music has been an integral part of human life and is working at various levels. Like we use music for prayers, for relief from fatigue. We also use music to reduce stress, to satisfy our urge for creativity, and also for entertainment. In the area of entertainment, we feel that we like only a specific kind of music. Why is that so? Every music is good in its own context. If we listen to Chinese music, we may not like it immediately, but in their context, in the context of Chinese culture, it can be very good. That is why it is necessary to listen to music in its context. When we talk about entertainment, then, as I said, we like only a certain type of music. There is no study or pre-thought behind it. Our culture, our education, practice, thinking, our personal choice, association, all these things work on our choice when we say we like a particular kind of music. But it is not right. There might be some good music, but we don't like. That doesn't mean that music is not good. So, when we say this music is good or otherwise, we need to study first and then say whether the music is good or not. Music happens to be an intangible abstract art. In drama, in dance, you see something in front of you. You look at movements, you also know the language. Thus, it is not so difficult to understand. But for music, the language of music, the language of swar and lay, which we do not know, we need to study, we need to learn it. Music has its own world. It does not represent anything in this world. When I sing ah, what does that mean? It has only musical meaning. We can't relate it to anything. That is why, if we wish to listen to music or learn it with understanding, then it is important to study or know basic things about music.
Prabhaji, a question now arises in mind. Quite often we get to hear that music is believed to be a universal language. So what do you think about this? The way you say that every music has a cultural context and we can understand or even appreciate the music. Then don't you think this sentence contradicts it?
It doesn't contradict because you understand music through emotions. When emotions arise in your mind, you try to understand music through that. But those who want to understand the content of music, it is necessary for them to study music. Now, there are two concepts of Indian classical music, basic concepts, rag and tal. You will not hear these concepts anywhere else in the world. And this is unique to Indian music. We create music, we present our music through rag and tal. These components, swar and lay, are there in every music of the world. No matter where you go, you will definitely find these two components. But after treatment on these components, the material which we get is different. Every culture has its own music and it is very different from others. As I mentioned, our Indian music is based on rag and tal. I am talking about classical music here. Folk music and light music are different. So, I was looking for the definition of rag. Searching for it, I could not find a good definition. Maybe because even rag is an intangible abstract concept. Have you found a good definition? We get information about the characteristics of rag, but good definition of rag is not there. I have tried a little. I will have to read it. I am not very happy. However, I have tried. Rag is a concept wherein out of the 12 notes of the saptak or octave, a minimum of 5 notes are chosen to create a melody having the potential to grow. Out of these 5 notes, the first note sa and the fourth note ma or the fifth note pa are always present. Would anyone like to say something?
As per my thinking, points are included in the ancient definition of rag, but the definitions in the treatises are in the form of verses, which is why they do not include all these details. Later, these points about rag creation were mentioned under rag rules.
But the characteristics are there. All these things come in the characteristics. But let's do one thing first. In our Indian music, there are 7 Shuddha Swars. All of us know it, you also know it, but I also wish that our lay audience should also know which are the 7 pure notes.
Sa re ga ma pa dha ni.
These are 7 swars, and then the 8th note comes. It is also sa, which is at the double the pitch of the first note.
Sa sa.
Sing Sargama Padanisa again.
Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa.
This is called a saptak or octave. Saptak has 7 pure notes in it. Now Rega, Dhani, 4 notes have lower variants which are called as Komal notes. Rega, Dhani. Sing the Komal swars.
Sa re.
This is Shuddha.
Sa re.
This is Komal.
Sa ga. Sa ga. Sa dha. Sa dha. Sa ni. Sa ni.
Now, Ma, which is left in the middle, it has a higher variant, meaning the variation has a higher pitch. It is Tivra Ma.
Sa ma.
This is Shuddha Ma.
Ma.
This means that in our Saptak we have a 7 Shuddha Swar, 4 Komal and 1 Tivra, which means in total we have 12 notes. Sing the 12 notes now.
Sa re re ga ga ma ma pa dha dha ni ni.
The notes in ascending order is called Aroha, and notes in the descending order is called Avaroha.
Sa ni ni dha dha pa ma ma ga ga re sa.
You have noticed that Re, Ga, Ma, Dha, Ni, they have 2 positions, but Sa and Pa have only 1 position which is fixed. Sa and Pa are always fixed. Until we do not fix Sa and its pitch is not decided, we do not get Saptak. So when we fix Sa, that is when we can say where is Ma, where is Pa, where is Ni. I mean, these notes are located at specific distances from each other. Now, this Saptak is called Madhya Saptak. Any artist who can sing with ease in a space is Madhya Saptak. When he wants to go down, go lower than Sa, that is Mandra Saptak. I will ask to sing till Pa in Mandra Saptak.
In Madhya Saptak. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni. Sa ni dha pa.
When once range improves, one can go to lower or mandrasa. Now, the upper sa, the 8th note sa, if one goes above that, then it is called tar saptak.
Sa re ga ma pa.
If one has a good range, then one can go above sa. Vocal artists usually sing in 2 saptaks, meaning from mandrapa to madhyapa and from madhyapa to tar saptak pa, right? Today there are many artists who sing in 3 saptaks, some even sing in 4 saptaks. And as regards instruments, according to their capability, they can be of 2 saptaks, 3 saptaks, 4 saptaks. It all depends on them. So this is about our saptak and swar.
Here I would like to say one thing, that the fixed position of Shadja and Pancham and the acceptance of these notes in the Saptak. If we look back at the history of our Indian classical music, it is quite recent, nearly 200-300 years ago. This Saptak was not standard Saptak. Before this, different Saptaks were considered as basic Saptaks. If we see from Vedic times, we get different concepts of Saptak in the treatises, but today we consider this Saptak as basic Saptak.
In Western music, they believe the same, meaning they have tempered scale. So these 12 notes of saptak or octave, they are kept at equal distance.
But our Saptak isn't tempered, so
Yes,
in this...
it is not tempered scale, but it's very difficult to sing with shruti or microtones. And in the entire program, to hit the note at the same position of shruti is very difficult. The ears cannot identify, for example, in the phrase ni rega, while singing re, until re is in transition, until it is not steady, the ears cannot identify so-called shruti of re. Now, we were talking about rag. We will move ahead with the characteristics of the rag. Now, let us know about its characteristics. In Aroha and Avroha, it is necessary to have minimum 5 notes, like as we can see in Rag Bhoop.
Sa re ga pa dha sa.
These are 5 notes.
Sa dha pa ga re sa.
See, here there are only 5 notes both in Aroha and Avroha. In Rag Gujari Todi, there are 6 notes.
Sa re ga ma dha ni sa. Sa ni dha ma ga re sa.
Now in Bhairavi, there are 7 notes.
Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. Sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa.
The ragas we just had a look at, the number of notes in Aroha and Avroha was same. There are also ragas where Aroha has 5 notes and Avroha 7 notes.
Rag Bhin Palas. Sa ga ma pa ni sa. Sa ni da pa ma ga re sa.
We have rules and also we have exceptions. So, like in Rag Hindo, there are 4 notes, but sometimes Ni is used in Sagamadasa.
Sagamada sa sadamaga sa.
The second rule to select the note ladder is that either the fourth note ma or the fifth note pa, either one of them should be present, and sa is a must. Listen to Rag Malkaus wherein ma is present.
Sagamada ni sa ni dha ma ga sa.
In Rag Shivaranjani, sa is of course there and the fifth note pa is there.
Sa re ga pa dha sa sa dha pa ga re sa.
In Rag Bhairavi, sa is definitely there and we even have also ma in pa.
Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa.
While selecting the note ladder for a rag, the two variants of the same note should not be present. But even for this, there is an exception, and that is Rag Lalit.
Ni re ga ma 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 ga ma dha ni sa re ni dha ma dha ma ma ga ma re ga re sa.
When we choose the note ladder for a particular rag, while choosing the notes, most important thing is that the ladder should be absolutely enjoyable, aesthetically beautiful. If you choose a ladder which doesn't have any aesthetic quality or beauty, then we will not use it. That is why the number of rags gets limited. Otherwise, mathematically, we can create unlimited number of rags.
Prabhaji, I would like to add something. As you said, Shadja has to be there and either Madhyam or Pancham has also to be there, and the rule also states that in a rag, any two consecutive notes should not be dropped like Rega or Dhani. If both these are dropped, then it cannot become a rag. But in our tradition, there is exception even for this. For example, Rag Devaranjani, where Re and Ga both are omitted, but otherwise,
Which means
yeah.
it's an exception. Now, there are also certain rags wherein the note ladder is the same, meaning the notes chosen are the same but they sound different. For example, Rag Todi and Multani. The notes in them will now be sung Sargam Padanisa,
Sa re
ga ma pa dha ni sa.
all these notes are same in both rags, but in the arrow of Todi there is no Pancham Swar.
Sa re ga ma dha ni sa.
And in the arrow of Rag Multani Re is dropped.
Sa ga ma pa ni sa.
Avroh of both the rags is same, just the same avroha.
Sa ni da pa ma ga re sa.
One more thing I have in mind. Aroha may have lesser notes, but the Aroha is complete. But we do not see that Aroha is complete and Avroha has less notes. Is there any such rag?
Like in Kannada,
Aroha is complete.
in Aro of Darbari Kannada, Saregama Padanisa, and in Avro, Sadhanipa Gamaresa, Sosanipa Maresa. In a way, this is an exception. There are lesser notes in Avro.
They may not come in order,
Yes,
but
it is
all
there.
notes are still
Yeah.
there, right?
But in Carnatic music, such rags do exist. In our Hindustani system, we don't have such rags where the Avroha has lesser notes, but Carnatic system does have such rags.
Rag is a melody which has the potential for elaboration. Inherent potential for elaboration is not found anywhere in the characteristics. The melody keeps on growing. I mean, the elaboration ends where one's imagination ends. So, a melody with the ability for elaboration is very important. It's not there anywhere in the characteristics. All of this is basic information. I know that there are a lot of students here who have learned. Even the connoisseurs are probably conversant, but if we start from basics, then we can discuss better later on. Now, we just spoke about rag, that the concept of rag is based on notes, and the concept of tal is associated with musical time. Laya or rhythm is created by striking at equal intervals. You know that. These strokes are called matras, which are used to measure the musical time. I could not find a definition for tal either, though I could find the characteristics. The definition is I have tried to put it. Tal is a concept wherein musical time is divided into specific number of matras in a circular pattern. These matras are further divided into different groups which are called khanda. The first matra of khanda is very important, and that is sam. The first matra is either khali or tali, which means that the first matra sam and then first matra of other khands is either khali or tali. But we will now look at the components of tal, the way I said the characteristics of rag. You need to show tal teen tal. It has 16 matras. Yes, just show 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1. Now this tal has a total number of 16 matras. It has 4 khanda, 4 matras in each khanda, and the first matra is sam. During elaboration or improvisation, the artist keeps coming to sam. We will look at it later. The important matra after sam is khali. The first matra here is sam. Where is khali? At which beat? 9th. Yes, please say.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16.
Every matra is given a bol or syllable which makes it theka of the tal. In teen tal, there are 16 matras. Let us listen to its theka. There is a bol for every matra.
Dha, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, tin, tin, ta, ta, dhin, dhin, dha.
When we present music, the tal is continuously played. During elaboration, our focus is also toward the theka to know which matra is being played. Listening to that, we conclude the elaboration on some aesthetically. Now, there are certain tals which have same number of matras like ek tal and chaw tal. Both have 12 matras. The number of khand is also same, but the theka is different. That is how they have distinct identity. Ek tal first.
Dhin, dhin, dhage, tira kit, tu, na, kat, ta, dhage, tira kit, dhe, na.
Chaw tal.
Dha, dha, din, ta, kit, dha, din, ta, ti, ta, ka, ta, ga, di, ga, na, dha.
As I mentioned, the matras of the tals are same, even the number of khands are same, but their theka is different. Theka distinguishes them. Now we will go towards during music making, how to make a musical phrase. Meaning how to join notes. In order to make a musical phrase, you need to join the notes. How do we do that? We can have a phrase of one note also, like if you hold on one note, say sa or pa. You keep holding that note steady in one breath in its position. So sa or pa. In our Indian music, when the higher or tar shadja is held for long, then audience is excited, they applaud. That means they are enjoying to hold sa for a long time properly. I hope you are understanding it.
A question comes to my mind. Why this importance of holding tar shadja for a long time? Why do people applaud there? Why not for other notes? Why is this feeling of enjoyment not there for sustaining other notes? Why importance of tar shadja?
I think the feeling of enjoyment should be there if we hold any note for a long time, but we don't hold them long. And secondly, to sing and to hold a note at high pitch is also difficult. It's a matter of practice. And the higher you can sing, the most applause you get.
There is another thing that comes to my mind, like as you said, we go through the entire saptak, and we reach the same point, which is twice higher the original pitch. So in a way, it completes a circle, and that's why the feeling of enjoyment is more only on tar shadja. Because of the repetition of frequency of madhya shadja, maybe that's why its enjoyment is more in comparison to other notes, right?
But if you look at it this way, then even the sa, if we elongate the sa of madhya saptak, we might not get the experience or pa or ma. That is also possible.
Here I feel that the way we established the shadja in the beginning of the presentation of a rag generally, So every artist begins with that only and works around
But
it.
to elongate it for a long time, that doesn't happen. We do establish and work around shards, but we don't hold on to it like higher sa. Yes, yes. This is the difference. Now, when we try to join two or more notes, we join them by meaned. Meaned is a glide, which is a curved or linear movement. It is used to join one note to another in an aesthetic manner. That is meaned.
Prabhaji, I would like to go to a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
backwards. Like as you mentioned that there is a rule of rag, we cannot take two variants of the same note in one after the other. So why was this rule made? Like we see exceptions as in rag Lalit, there is also a certain way for rag Mia Milhar and even we do in Shuddha Sarang. Why was this rule made fundamentally? What is your opinion? What could be the reason for
That it
this?
should be appealing.
No, but in Lalit or Shuddha Sarang, the notes we use.
One or two notes are okay, but
Yes.
if you keep singing it for
Yes,
3-4 notes,
that
then
what
it won't
work.
sound appealing. Let us see an example for mean. First, sing the individual notes which you are going to join.
pa re ga ni pa re ga ma ni dha pa.
1 minute. While singing, we don't leave space between ma, pa. That means we sing them in one go. We sing them through meaned. This is the speciality of Indian music. Yes.
Ma ni dha pa pa re ga re sa a
Ga ma dha ni dha pa ga ma dha ni dha pa dha ni re ga sa dha ni re ga sa.
In the beginning, we sang individual notes. Later, we connected them with mean. Now, we will join in another way by Kanaswar. A primary note touches another note. Like, for example, Ga is the primary note. We take the kan of Re.
ga re ga a
Pa is primary note. Ma is used as Kanaswar.
pa ma pa ma pa a
Ni swar with touch of dha.
Ni dhani dhani
Sa swar with touch of ni.
sa ni sa a
Kanaswaras can touch main note from above, and also it can be in between two main notes. Now, khatka. For khatka, you need to strike same note again and again and stay on it. Like ga ga or mama, the musical phrase ni re ga ga.
ni re ga 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 a a ma dha ni 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 a a.
There is a very little difference between Kanaswar and Khatka, because even here in Khatka, the first ga comes in the form of Kanaswar, I believe, but there is a little force stroke in it.
In different traditions, these connotations are meant differently. Like according to the instrumentalists, Karnaswar which they demonstrate is correct according to them, but for Khatka especially, instrumentalists believe that if you add the following, the lower note on the primary note usually, for example in sa, re sa ni sa, sa, this is what they call Khatka. They don't call repeating the note sa as Khatka. So in different traditions, the definitions differ, but the execution remains the same.
That is why we need to standardize the theory. That is why we are sitting here today. Now gamak, it is an oscillation between two notes like gama, gama, gama. Now if you present this in gamak,
Ma pa ma pa ma pa a a a a
sa ni a a.
what happens in Andolan, a note is continuously being touched by a lower or a higher note. For example, in a note dha, dha is being touched by Komalni, and in slow movement dha is being touched by Komal Nishad.
ga ma ni da ni da ni da pa ga ma ga re ga re ga re sa.
Komal Ray was being continuously touched by ga.
On Komal Nishad, touch of Dhahivat.
ma pa ni dhani dhani ma pa a.
On Gandhar, touch of Madhyam.
ga ma ga ma ga ma re a.
Now Murki or Harkat is a cluster of notes rendered rapidly with a twist, jump and accent, usually ending on a long note. The Murki is mainly used in semi-classical music, not in classical music. And here if we sing note names, then it doesn't sound nice. It is also very difficult in Murki. Sing.
Sa re ga pa ma ga re pa ma ga re ga ma ga re ga ma ga re sa ga ma pa da ni sa ni sa ni da pa ma ga re ga ma ga re ga ma ga re ga ma ga re sa
ये मध्यम को षड्ज मानकर है। सा म आ ग म ग रे ग म ग म ग रे ग म ग रे सा प ध सा रे ग प प म ग म ग रे ग म ग म ग रे ग म ग रे सा
The way the notes are joined, you will find more variations in every category. That means there is no one way to describe this how khatka will be or mean will be. There will be different various expressions in every category.
Prabhaji, I have a question regarding this. Like
Yes.
as you said, murki is not used in classical music, meaning where
Rag Sangeet. I
so
mean in
that
Rag
means
Sangeet.
it doesn't happen in Drupad or Khyal,
Yes.
but we also consider
Yes,
Thumri to be
Rag
rag
Sangeet,
music.
it is not pure Rag Sangeet, right?
It is, isn't it?
Only if at all you sing it so.
Yeah.
If at all you want to keep the rag
Yeah.
pure, only then
No,
you will do
what
so.
I'm trying to say is that even if we don't keep rag pure, even if we mix it, but it is based on the principle of
The
rag.
principle of rag is there, but it is not pure rag, right?
Yeah. So
Even the
alright.
presentation of rag is not the same. Like
No, it
in
isn't.
classical
It is
music,
a different form.
in Khyal or Drupad, the presentation of rag is not the same here.
No,
Yes.
it isn't. You're right. So you mean Murki can be in Thumri, in Tappa, but not in Drupad or Khyal as you said. However, in practice, we see that Murki is there.
No, nowadays
but
this
yes.
happens in Khyal also. There is a lot of overlapping.
yeah.
It does happen. But it's better if you don't do it. I mean, it's not necessary.
Yeah, that's what I
yeah.
wanted to say, that even if you use Murki in classical music, there is nothing wrong with it. But in case you do, the proportion of its preferred usage is mentioned in Saundarya Shastra. That's how I feel.
But even the proportion is changing nowadays.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So where will we
And
use and how
especially
much?
in the last 40-50 years, a lot of artists, as we listen, have used Murki a lot. If we compare presentations of yesteryears, so what I mean to say is that the proportion can change, but we can't say is banned. That's why you spoke about the topic of Murki.
I was talking the same, that it is used mainly in semi-classical music. So now we will talk about music material. In order to make music, we need music material. So can anyone tell me what is music material? Which is the music material we use for making music?
So Prabhaji here means we use material in order to make rag music for presentation. So what is that material? What are the music making devices?
We can use this material anywhere. I mean, whichever material is available. It is not for just classical music. Yeah. Can anyone say? Someone?
Sur, lay, tal and words.
These are the components. That means primary components of music are swar and lay. They cannot be called material. Yeah. When we bring swar and lay together, we get music material, like there is alap. So small and slow musical phrases moving in slow pace, expressed mainly with vowels like a, e, they are alap. For that, anyone can, I mean, even new student can identify alap. Yes. as you noticed, these were very small music phrases moving at slow pace, and that was in akar. She has used vowel a. As you saw here, these phrases are mostly free from laya or rhythm, because of which the fine details of rag structure in any music form, be it khayal or dhrupad, their character or the minute details of the structure can be explored because of the slow pace. And music phrases being small, the minute details of the structure or the ghats like khayal, dhrupad, dhamar, etc., their minute details can be easily explored. Now the next material is tan. Here long note phrases move fast in the form of necklace. If we sing tan from the beginning in rag music, then we won't be able to explore the minute details. That is why the proportion of alap is found more in rag music. And the tan accompanies laya. Alaps are generally free of laya. When you reach closer to some, then alap may be identical with tal, but in between it is free from laya. There is one more component in vocal music, words, which you cannot avoid. With combination of swara, laya and words together, we have another material, bol. Bol means words woven in musical phrases along with words. Bol alap is words used in musical phrases become bol alap. If words are woven in tan, it becomes bol tan. Bol alap first. A speciality of this is it can bring variety in sound form because of bowls. Bowls have their own sound form, so when there are words in musical phrase, they bring variety. Rather than a is sung, her re brings variety in articulation. And when you want to create some rhythmic pattern, a becomes difficult. So with words, rhythmic pattern can also be created. And you can also bring emotional color. Lagi charana or Preeti lagi, any word you will use with musical phrases, then the emotions create more impact. So in these bowls, we can bring variety in pronunciation, we can create rhythmic pattern and also add emotional color in musical phrases. Now we will see bowl tan. Here words enter into tan and it becomes bowl tan. First in akar,
lagi re hare sang lagi re hare sang
gagare sa ni da pa gagare sa ni da pa ma gare sa lagi re hari sang lagi re hari sang lagi.
now we are going to see about bowl upaj. Here we try to bring in rhythm with the help of words in bowl upaj. This is mostly medium tempo rhythmic pattern. Sing a line in the beginning, which you do.
lagi lagi re
Hare sang lagi lagi re
hare sang lagi lagi re lagi re hare sang lagi lagi re lagi re hare sang sang lagi lagi re hare sang lagi lagi re
Hare sang lagi lagi re hare sang lagi lagi re hare sang lagi re hare sang lagi lagi re hare sang.
Bol banav and bol baat are again different material which we will discuss during semi-classical music. The fourth music material is Sargam. When phrase is made of abbreviated note names, then it becomes Sargam. Sargam can be sung in different tempos. It can become alap, it can become tan. In the same way, it can also become bolupaj, being made of single syllables. Sargam can bring in notes of 3 saptaks or octaves in one music phrase, which is not possible in alap and it's difficult in tan.
ni re ga pa re ga ma re da ni re da sa ma da ni pa ga ma da ni ma re ga ma da ni ma re ga pa re ni re da sa
Gamadani pare ga 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 ma re ga re ma ga ma re ga ma da ga pa ga ma da ni da ga ma pa re ga ma ga ga re sa.
The way I said, Sargam phrases easily enter into different speeds. This was like alap. Now say like tan.
Gare ni da pa ma gare re ga ma da ni re ga re sa ni da pa ma da ni ma ni ni da pa ma gare ga pa ma re ga ma gare da gare sa ni re ga pa ma ga pa ma re ga ma gare sa.
Sani da pa ma da ni da pa ma ga re ga da pa ma ga re ga pa ma re ga ma da ni sa ni da ga ga re sa ni da pa ma da ni sa ni da pa ma da ni ga ni da pa ma pa ga ma re ga re ma ga pa ma da ma ni da sa ni re ni ga ga re sa ni da pa ma da sa ni da pa ma ga ma da ni ga ni da pa ma ga ga re sa.
Another feature of Sargam is that it is a pure music material. It conveys only purely musical meaning. When Sa Re Ga Ma is sung, it conveys only musical meaning to all of us. When a music phrase is with bowls, it gets colored by emotion. But in Sargam, the phrases help you do things which are not possible in Ala Portan, that is easily possible here. Being of single syllable, rhythmic variety can also be done, and it also conveys musical meaning.
Till now, we discussed about the music material, meaning, swar, lay, and later rag and tal. We also discussed about the music material, alap, taan, bol, sargam, etc. If you have any doubts or questions regarding these topics, please ask.
Prabhatai, you began by saying that rag is an abstract concept, and at the same time you tried to define rag. Isn't it contradictory in itself? Firstly, why should we define something which is abstract? And secondly, if something is abstract, we can only give its characteristics and we cannot actually define it. So why should we not accept this truth? Why should we not?
Characteristics are definitely there, but what is the problem? What is the problem in trying to define it? Until we do not explain the characteristics, we won't understand rag concept. This is an additional support, I believe that. But did it not make any sense to you of what I said about rag? When I tried to explain rag, didn't it make any sense to you?
No, you explained the characteristics
When
here.
did I say?
The characteristics are put in the form of a sentence, then still we...
Definition must include that also. Even characteristics, right? It is not necessary to explain characteristics distinctly. It is not necessary to define rag. I felt it will help if I do, so I tried.
I sense confusion here. What is the difference between definition and characteristics? What does the word definition mean? I sense a little confusion over here. Definition means it includes the essence of the topic and summary of the topic. There is no description in that. And what Prabhaji said over here is not definition, it's description. And she perceives it on a level of description, and her perception is correct in a way, according to her point of view. But like in the traditional definition of rag, which we get in Brihadeshi or Sangeet Ratnakar, is essence. So if we elaborate this definition, then we indeed get the elements mentioned by Prabhatai. But we need to elaborate the definition, and there is a problem in that every intellectual can interpret the definition according to his point of view and change it, and that can be problematic. That's why a description is necessary, which Prabhaji gave.
I would like to say...
1 minute,
okay.
Sorry. And as Samirji said, like how can you explain something intangible? So this is indeed a tricky question. But I don't believe that the concept of rag is intangible. The principle of rag is intangible, or the presentation of rag in a conceptualized form as is done, that is very difficult to express in words. But on a conceptual level, rag is not abstract. So we can definitely give its description. Explanation is possible as found in our treatises.
Tai, I wanted to ask you
about a Sargam. You have made a huge contribution to the topic of Sargam. You have shown its potential as music material, and contribution is remarkable. Some people of certain gharana say that the Sargam means the Sargam is a very low level of music ornamentation, or with the use of Sargam, the rag gets destroyed. If we use Sargam, then the distance between the two notes from Shadjad to Rishabh, that also is considered to be wrong, and this is what I've heard with my own ears and not heard as just a rumor. And as much as I have listened to your singing presentations, I have never understood how the structure actually gets distorted. So when people make phrases like Eriali Piya Bina, use of these words actually does not harm it but beautifies the rag, but use of Niragama Pamagari harms the structure. So is it correct to say like this, or is there any actual logic in
I absolutely agree that when the words are broken and sung in musical phrases, it's okay with them. When it is Sargam, why I do so, there is a logic behind it. It is not done just for the heck of it, why I do so, there is a logic behind it. When I've been working on that, it should be accepted, and the way I said, it is a pure music material and has lot of potential. It can work as alap, can work as taan. It conveys only musical meaning and colors itself in any emotion. It's multidimensional and very effect material. We have to take it.
Meaning it is necessary that the listeners should listen to Sargam with an open mind actually.
Not only that, Sargam is not just used in classical music. Except for folk music, Sargam has made its entry into all forms of music, and people also enjoy it very much.
Most of the artists today use Sargam. Even those who used to oppose it previously are also using it nowadays.
But the thing is that they come on the stage and oppose it, but use it in the teaching or singing. And they would oppose Sargam for the sake of it, just for opposing it. That is what I've noticed.
If they practice Sargam and later on oppose it, then that's their problem. They are not honest.
Actually, to the level which Prabhatai has taken the Sargam, if one does not have that capability, then probably one should say that the Sargam is not necessary.
Yes, this is also possible.
So this might be a possibility.
So if you wish to use Sargam beautifully, in your presentation, you need to practice and also contemplate a lot. On that topic, Prabhaji will talk later. We will probably have an entire session on it.
Chaitanya, the thing is, Prabhaji's Sargam is so full of beauty. Always. I have listened to her since childhood, and many a times there are so many other singers, when they sing Sargam, it feels like there is something mechanical. It is very computerish. I feel like that. So, according to me, Sargam is something that should only and only be learnt under Prabhatai. It is so full of beauty. I have no words.
No, and I would like to mention one thing here, that Sargam singing has been around in practice for around 100 to 150 years. We had Abdul Karim Khan Sahib, Bade Ghulam Ali Khan Sahib, Amir Khan Sahib. All of them have contemplated on Sargam very beautifully and have presented it so well. But giving Sargam a logical, scientific, academic approach, establishing it, giving it due status has been done by Prabhaji, and we must acknowledge this contribution.
In the beginning, you mentioned about 12 notes, Komal, Shuddh, etc. But I have heard about Ati Komal, especially Re. Ati Komal, Re, Ati Tivra Madhyam, Ati Tivra Nishad. I have heard about them, but I am unable to recognize them. So, can you explain anything about that?
Firstly, this is not my area of study, and I believe that an artist can sing 12 notes properly, then that's quite good. Those who can work on Shrutis, they should definitely do it. But sometimes the use of Shrutis sound so unmusical that we are not used to listening to that. This also happens. So those who want to study, they should. That is an important area of study. But I always wish that our audience should take part in the creative process. And for that, we need to make our theory, rules easy and simple. So we need to make our audience knowledgeable, and they are the supporters. Researchers who research on such topics remain in the books if it cannot be used practically. It is important, I don't say no to it, but if we want to promote our music, our rag music, then it is very important that our audience also accept it. Our theory should be very easy and simple, and I am trying for that, and I believe that there should be standardization for that. That's my opinion.
I would like to know more about Upaj. Yeah, I'm here. So, what does Upaj actually mean? I mean, we listen to technical terms. Our Guru says, do Upaj, do Upaj. So, no matter what, we sing only what we have heard. And whatever we have learnt, we only sing that. Or is it thinking independently, called contemplating as the artist that we are in our age? Is it possible? Or we need different training or practice for that, if you can tell us?
Forget about Upaj. Even if you want to do Alap, you sing what is taught, what you have heard, right? Is there anything unique even in Tan? You need to think on that. Individual personality, practice, all these things help you to be different. You can definitely create unique musical phrases. Try to think beyond that, right? You can definitely do so. Keep listening to good artists. Analyze their music. That's the only way.
In Hindustani classical music, why is Akar so important?
With Akar, the sound travels to longer distance. E or they are not appealing for the ears, but they are also important to bring in variety if used thoughtfully.
In my opinion, Akar is not the only important vowel. Ikar,
No, she is
Ukar,
saying
all
mostly
are
we
important.
use.
But
Yes.
Akar is mostly used, as Prabha Atre mentioned. But that doesn't mean Ikar, Ukar are poor or they should not be used. And if you want to be a good musician, you have to practice almost all vowels. It is not that if you practice only Akar, you will master everything.
It also happens if you keep saying throughout the performance, then that will be boring.
Exactly.
Just do and nothing.
Like the way you explained about music material, alap, bolalap, tan, boltan, sargam. So you said alap would be probably used in vilambit or madhyalaya, tan would be in madhyalaya or drutlaya. So every musical material has limitations with laya or area. Let's not call it limitation, let's call it zone. So is it fixed or does every artist work differently?
See, while exploring the structure of or rag minutely or any music form, you need slow alap which moves in slow pace. As you reach closer to some, alaps consciously build a connection, and tan has inherent lay.
Yes, but what I mean to say is, if we take alap, then it will be in vilambit or madhyalaya. There will be no alap in drutlaya. Meaning the laya for alap will not be
Of
in
course
drut.
not.
Tal keeps on going, dhatindinda, dhatindinda. This laya will
absolutely.
keep going, but alap,
Alap
madhya or
has its
vilambit.
own lay. Alap has
Yeah,
its own lay.
I wanted to point out that every musical material
has its own lay. Absolutely.
Yes. So even for Sargam, it can't be sung in Ati Vilambit Laya,
Will
otherwise
not
it will
sound
not
good.
have its identity. So probably for Vilambit, Madhya and
I want to
Drut
say
Laya,
another thing. When we say Vilambit lay, Madhya lay, Drut lay, does Vilambit lay means 1 minute avartan of tal? What is Vilambit lay? What is Madhya lay? We need to standardize time of one beat.
yes, these things have not been standardized in our Indian music. In Western music, there is a specific duration for every beat, and accordingly, the definition of laya has been standardized. But we don't have this restriction. We have not standardized. We have not fixed it like only this zone. Beat per minute is called Vilambit. Problem is, according to every tal, Vilambit Madhya Drut Laya will change.
See
It will
what
also change
happens
according to the
during
artist.
examination. Such problems arise. If student sings in his Vilambit lay, then examiner says it is Ati Vilambit. You don't see Theka, they are just matras. You need to standardize these things. Vilambit means 1 minute or 45 seconds, 30 seconds or 20 seconds for Madhya lay, or 10 seconds for Drut lay. We must do something.
Yes. So in present time, we can do this since we have the equipments available. What you said is absolutely right. It is a problem during examination, like te, na, the, na. If someone is singing in this layer, should we consider it Vilambit Khyal or not? It is left to the examiner.
But
In
the
my
student has to
opinion-
suffer.
Yes. But in my opinion, we should also see that if, like the student says that this is his Vilambit Laya, then accordingly what should be his Madhya or Drut Laya? If he can go to that extent, then we will consider it to be Vilambit, otherwise not. Because this is a creative imagination. Vilambit, Madhya and Drut are relative rhythms in Indian music.
Examiner should also know about this, right?
Yes, exactly. So, I would like to give an example that Pandit Ram Bhav Marathe, known for his khayals, used to sing fast in comparison to other gharanas. His Vilambit Lay was also
Madhya
like
Laya,
Madhya
yes.
Laya, but in that reference, his Drut Laya was also faster than other artists. Very fast.
Yeah.
So, his spectrum of Vilambit, Madhya, Drut was different. So, idea of Vilambit, Madhya, Drut is different with each artist and depends on his ability and skill.
That is true, but
Yes.
what to do about these
Yes,
examiners?
exactly.
Because that is
So-
where students face problem.
It is a problem, especially in education. We should
do
standardize,
something.
and this is true. I would like to share a thought. I think as there is an orientation program for teachers, or what do we call it?
Refreshers course.
Refresher course. Similarly, the examiners should also undergo an orientation course. We think so.
We must do that, but before that we need to standardize whatever theory we have, whatever we teach, what we present. That should be one. First we have to do this.
Ma'am, I want to ask you a question on a very personal level. When you were a student of music, when you used to learn singing, so do you think it always used to happen that you always used to concentrate only on singing? I mean, whenever you were singing, you would only pay attention to your gaiki pattern. I mean, have you ever thought that there is someone who is playing harmonium with you or some other instrument, like somebody's playing on sitar or somebody's on sarangi, or there is any other accompanist? So have you ever tried to inculcate those swars or the group of swars, as you can say? Have you ever tried to inculcate those things in your singing with your own choice or your thought? That's my question to you.
I have always done that. Everyone should do it. Everyone should listen to everyone. They should absorb all good things. Only then you can progress. Listen to everything. Listening is very important. Whatever is good should be imbibed, included in your singing. Make it a habit. It will help you.
So my question in this regard is that should we only concentrate on our singing, or should we also concentrate on the accompanist? I mean, should we only concentrate on our singing or tabla also? Now, whoever is playing some melody on harmonium or sitar, that is their own thing. We should not get affected with that, is it?
It is a different medium, right? How can the playing be same as singing? It is a different medium, right?
Ma'am, I mean, there are some alaps and tans also playing on sitar or harmonium or any other instrument. So, I mean, can we take that into our singing also? That's my question.
We should always take the thought behind it, and we don't have to copy it, right?
Thank you, ma'am.
About this, I would like to say that even with sitar or sarangi, if rag music is being played, the basic elements and music material presented is the same, right? But the expression would be different because the medium is different. As Prabha said, the medium is completely different. Singing is a different medium, instrument is a different medium. Every artist chooses and treats musical materials according to the needs of the medium. So as Prabha said, the thought behind is important. How are the elements being used in the presentation? We can definitely emulate, and this we should do as she said. You should listen to every artist and adapt whatever you can from it. So it is not a watertight compartment for singing and playing. It has never been so and cannot be so.
You were just mentioning something about Andolan. So Rag Bhairav has Komal Nishad. So there is Dhevat, Komal Dhevat, right? There was Andolan going on from Komal Nishad to Komal Dhevat. But Rag Bhairav has Shuddha Nishad.
What you are saying is right. I mean, you are absolutely right. We are used to listening this way. Many times when I sing Bhairav, I try to sing Tivra Nishad. I try, but we are so much used to listening to that. I mean, the Andolan goes to Komal Nishad.
Yes, I know, because when we sing Dha, Ni, Sa during Aroha, that time we use Shuddha Nishad. And when there is Andolan, we use Komal Nishad.
What you are saying is right. Komal Nishad is not there in Rag Bhairav, but we use that note in Andolan. We do so in many rags.
But ma'am, is it correct or is it not correct?
It is correct. Correct.
It is correct or not depends upon how you use it.
The proportion of usage is important.
Context is very important.
In its description, the theoretical description in treatises, the way in Rag Vigyan of Pandit Vinayak Bua Patwardhan or in Pandit Omkarnath Thakur's book, they have specifically mentioned that in Rag Bhairav, while doing Andolan on Komal Dhevat, Komal Nishad is often heard. Right or wrong depends on your presentation. Will show whether it's correct or incorrect. The way you do it might be correct or incorrect.
Okay, thank you.
So we will finish today's session, and our next session will be on the 29th, meaning the next week, Friday, 29, same time.
Friday.
Same time, 11 to 1 at the same venue. Thank you.